ENTJs, I love you guys so much. I would rip my heart open and give it to you guys on a platter.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anika and I am an INFP. Today we're gonna be talking about ENTJs. We're gonna be exposing them. We're gonna talk about the good stuff about dating an ENTJ and the bad stuff. I've already made a video about INTJs. If you're curious about that one, go check out my channel. And on that note, if you guys are ready, let's start with the good stuff.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna be seeing him a lot when referring to ENTJs in this video. That's because I'm gonna be talking about my own personal experiences, but what I'm gonna say applies to all ENTJs. Alright.
ENTJs are hardworking. If you happen to be with an ENTJ who's not hardworking, well, that's because he's not an ENTJ. Like, the first thing that an ENTJ does when waking up is work on something. That also means he's gonna work around the house. I've dated an ENTJ in the past, and one of the first things that he did was putting this chair where I'm sitting on right now together. ENTJs are like that. They're gonna see something that needs to be improved or fixed, and they will do something about it. It's in their nature, and it's very sexy. And since they're so hardworking, well, that comes with the next points. ENTJs are clean. ENTJs are organized, and because they're hardworking, ENTJs are also ambitious. It is very unlikely that you're gonna meet an ENTJ who is not ambitious. ENTJs have goals that they want to achieve. And if you don't have goals yourself that you want to achieve in the future, well, that could clash with them. So for me, obviously, why would I not want someone who is ambitious, right? I think everyone would want to be with a partner who is ambitious. The thing is, I wouldn't really classify that as a con per se, but if you're not as ambitious as ENTJs, or if you don't have any goals in the future, well, that will certainly clash with ENTJs since they're looking for a partner who is as driven as them. Next point. If you thought that ENTJs were boring or rigid, well, you would be wrong. Why? Because I find ENTJs quite funny. Usually ENTJs have a dark humor and they like making jokes. I personally find ENTJs quite witty. And bonus points if you also have a dark humor. They will like that about you. Next point. ENTJs are born leaders. That means that they will happily take the lead and plan things out for you guys. They will enjoy the fact that they showed you something, that they made you discover something. They will take pride in that. ENTJs also care about quality time. So if they care about you, they will set some time aside for you and they will let you know right away when they're available. So I guess that could lead to the next point. ENTJs are direct. I really like the way that ENTJs communicate. They are direct and straight to the point. They will let you know exactly when they're available and where to go, what time, no funny business with them. ENTJ's communication style is go straight to the point and be direct. And I like the way that they text. It's very like a CEO texting me, and I find that quite sexy. Let's say you guys are going out on a date, they will let you know exactly when they're free. So they will let you know the day, where to go, what time, everything. And I love that. Like, I don't need to break my head when I'm dating an ENTJ. They have everything planned, and it's always a great time.
Oh, and the best compliments I've received have been from ENTJs. I mean, like I said, ENTJs are pretty direct, and if they think you're pretty, they will say it. If they think you're smart, they will say it. And they won't mind bragging about you as well, which, I like it. I like it.
Next point. Oh my god, y'all, something just crazy happened. The fire alarm just rang in my building, and I had to go out in the middle of winter. Thankfully, everything is okay. But anyways, that happened. Now let's back to the video, I guess. ENTJs are actually quite low maintenance. And I know that sounds crazy because you might think ENTJ, oh my god, they have high expectations, they have high standards. And while that is true, ENTJs actually don't require much. And that is because ENTJs have the mentality of do not complain and be the provider type mentality. Which means ENTJs are not the type of people to request stuff out of you. They won't ask you to buy things for them or do things for them. Like I said, their mentality is I can do that for myself, so why would you have to do it for me? But that does not mean do nothing for them, obviously. If you do show them that you care, they will really appreciate that. Meaning, if you cook something nice for them, they will really appreciate that. If you clean around the house for them, they will really appreciate that. And also, ENTJs are kind of cheap with themselves. That means that if they want to buy a handbag, let's say, they won't necessarily go for like the flashy, expensive brand thing. Okay? They will go for something that is efficient and something that will save them money. But let's say that you know that an ENTJ wants a specific handbag or wallet or watch, whatever, get it for them. But find a good reason to give it to them. Let's say it's their birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, because ENTJs have the type of mentality that they can afford things for themselves. So if you just go ahead and buy them random gifts every day, while they might like it, they want to feel like they're the one in control. They want to be the one giving you gifts. So if you do give them a gift, give it at a good time. Next point. Once again, if you guys thought ENTJs were scary, you would be wrong. ENTJs are adorable. ENTJs may or may not admit it, but they really like affection. I myself am quite the clingy girl. I am very affectionate, and when it comes to ENTJs, they usually love that. I really enjoy kissing my ENTJs, hugging my ENTJs, and giving them all sorts of affection. And ENTJs really like that. So I guess it would be a con if you're not the type of person who is affectionate, who do not like physical touch. It might surprise you, but ENTJs really have a tender and poetic side to them. I once had an ENTJ write a poem for me, and that was really sweet.
I mean, the poem became sensual real quick, but hey, I'll take it, I guess.
So if you're close to an ENTJ, you'll see that tender, loving side of them, and they won't look as scary, I promise. I love kissing my ENTJs. I can give them so many kisses, and they're like, that's it. And I'm like, mwah. And they're like, that's it. And I'm like, mwah. And they're like, that's it. What am I saying? Next point. ENTJs will give you space, meaning that ENTJs are quite busy, so they won't be the type to text you all day and be like, hey, where are you? Give me some attention. What are you doing right now? And if you do want someone to text you all day long, maybe that would be a con for you. But ENTJs won't expect you to reply right away. ENTJs are more the type to text you like once a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, and they will let you know, hey, I have to go back to work. Talk to you later. You know, like once again, they have a very direct approach. So they will give you space during the day to do whatever you want to do because, you know, they have work and they will expect you to do the same as well. So I guess it would be a con if you're looking for someone to just text you all day long. But what I mean is they won't be clingy, I guess. Since they have things to do themselves, they will understand if you also have work or anything else. Alright, so I'm gonna stop it here. I have like so many good things to say about ENTJs because I love my ENTJs, but we're gonna be moving on to the facts. Guys, what I'm about to tell you are the worst toxic traits an ENTJ can have. It's about to get real serious, so listen up. Alright, let's go. Silent treatment or rage. What I mean by that is that if you get into an argument with an ENTJ, like a real argument, I guess, they will either give you the silent treatment or they will explode. And when they give you the silent treatment, they basically become a rock. They don't talk, they don't show emotion, they just sit in their corner like indefinitely. Or they will rage. They're gonna explode. They're gonna be like, what about my feelings? Don't you care about what I feel? I remember what I said about ENTJs having the mentality of not complaining. Well, basically when they rage, they're basically at their last straw.
Story time. Okay, I believe my dad is an ENTJ. And whenever I would get into an argument with my dad, and by the way, it was always his fault, okay? That's why I believe he would go into silent mode or rage mode because he didn't want to believe that he was at fault. Anyways, when I was a kid and I would get into an argument with my dad would never apologize. Not with words, at least. But my dad, he's a smart man. He knows me so well. So here's how my dad would apologize. Whenever I would come back home from school, I would get into my room. And then what did I see on my desk? I would see a chocolate bar that my dad has bought. I would obviously eat the chocolate bar because who wouldn't, right? And then 2 seconds later, I would see my dad open the door and be like, aha, you ate the chocolate bar. That means that you forgave me. And I guess that meant I forgave him. I mean, my dad knows me so well. He knows chocolate is my weakness. It's not fair. And he would always do that. And it always worked. But hey, I am a grown adult now. And chocolate bars are not enough. I mean, maybe if you give me like 10 chocolate bars, I will reconsider. But hey, I think I deserve an apology with words. And because of my dad, it was so hard for me growing up to actually apologize to people. Because of him, I had like that pride as well. And I was like, it's not my fault. I should not say sorry.
The thing that can really be annoying when it comes to ENTJ is the fact that when they are done with an argument, it's done. They don't want to talk about it. It's done. Let's say you're in an argument with an ENTJ. If the ENTJ is done with the argument, they don't have anything else to say or they want to move on, well, it's done. It's done. ENTJs enjoy moving on fast. There's a problem? Let's fix it. I'm done with it. Let's move on. And that can be really annoying and triggering if you are not done with the problem. If you have more things to say, sometimes the ENTJ just doesn't care. And don't count on bringing up that problem from the past in the present. They will get mad. Because once an ENTJ is done with something, they're done. Let's move on. And I absolutely hate that. If you bring up a problem that an ENTJ caused, be really mindful of your words. Do not blame an ENTJ. I'm not sure if at school they taught you this, but when you have a problem with someone, never say you. Well, you really need to follow that with an ENTJ. When you're addressing a problem to an ENTJ, try not to say, you did that, blah, 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 blah. Because a lot of times, ENTJ do not like taking accountability and they don't like feeling a lot of high, intense emotions. So when you do bring up a problem to an ENTJ that they have caused, be careful with your words. Try to tell it from your perspective and try to remain calm. That is very important. Do not try to be aggressive towards an ENTJ because they will be aggressive back. or give you the silent treatment and just erase you from their life. Yeah, ENTJs can really be harsh. ENTJs have a lot of pride and a fragile ego. Like I said about the argument thing, ENTJs have a lot of pride, and sometimes it can be hard for them to just take accountability because then they will need to set their ego and their pride aside to try to understand you. Sometimes doing introspection, so reflecting on their own emotions and then reflecting on other emotions, that's a lot of work, and they don't want to have to deal with all of that. That's why sometimes they would rather just cut you off because that could be easier for them, or just not acknowledge that they were in the wrong. Also, do not make the mistake of making fun of ENTJs, especially in public. I mean, why would you make fun of ENTJs, right? Maybe one day you're gonna be in public with ENTJs and their friends, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I have a funny anecdote to say about my ENTJ. It's pretty embarrassing. Keep that to yourself. Oh my god, guys, keep that to yourself. Because if there's one thing not to do, is embarrassing ENTJs in public. ENTJs hate being the center of a joke. Once again, they have a fragile ego, so do not rub them the wrong way. And obviously, no one wants to be laughed at, so it's not just about having a fragile ego, but ENTJs, they will take that personally. And they will probably cut you off if you laugh at them in public. Okay, oh my god, something else about arguments. Yes, I swear, a lot of breakup will happen because an argument went wrong with your ENTJ. Okay, so being able to resolve an argument is really important. Okay, and one thing about ENTJs that I've noticed when they go into their silent treatment or rage mode or fragile ego mode or a lot of pride mode is that they don't want to be challenged. They want you to be quiet. And I really hate that because I am someone with a lot of feelings, I am someone with a lot of opinions, and when an ENTJ is mad, they just want you to shut up and move on. I remember I had an argument with my childhood best friend who happens to be an ENTJ, and the conversation got really heated. At one point, I was like, you just want me to shut up like a good dog, don't you? And she said, yes. And that really hurt me. And yeah, we don't talk anymore, even though I know that I love her. I really, really do love my childhood best friend, and I wish we could talk. And even though we had this big, intense argument, the thing is, when ENTJs are mad, they are going to lash out. And a lot of times, they don't really mean the harsh things that they say to you. So, even though we had that big, intense argument, I know that in her heart, she still feels love for me. Okay? Maybe she feels a lot of intense emotion that it confuses her. But I know that in those emotion, I hope at least that she still somewhat loves me.
Sometimes ENTJs have a superiority complex where they just want you to listen to them, obey to them, and never go against them. And if you have a parent, a friend, or a partner like that, that is definitely a toxic behavior.
And that's also another thing with ENTJs. You need to make the first step towards them. Okay? Let's say you guys are mad and all that. ENTJs, once again, have a lot of pride, so they will likely not go up to you and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I do care about you a lot. Let's make up. Let's talk about it. If they're emotionally intelligent, maybe. But a lot of time, which is annoying, you will need to make the first step towards them, even though the ENTJ was definitely in the wrong. But usually, at least, when you do make the first step, they're willing to listen. At least. Next point. ENTJs have a busy lifestyle. That means that a lot of time when you do want to plan a date, you will need to follow an ENTJ's schedule. And that also means that whenever an ENTJ wants to see you, they will expect you to be free for them. Like, as much as they respect you having a busy lifestyle, if you're someone who is too busy for an ENTJ, they will get turned off. I feel like ENTJs really like cats, and that apply to people. What I mean is, they want to leave their cat at home. The cat can do whatever they want, cats are low maintenance. And when an ENTJ comes back home, they expect to see their cat. They expect their cat to give them love and affection and to be present for them. Which is good for me because I am an INFP. I mean, I do nothing all day. So obviously when an ENTJ comes back home, I'll be there to greet them. Next point. ENTJs are somewhat traditional. What I mean by that is ENTJs are the type to be supportive of your dreams. They will want someone ambitious, someone who has their own goals, but in their mind, they expect to be the provider. So since they expect themselves to be the provider, they would want you to fill in the role of taking care of the house, doing the chores, and all of that.
Well, I guess for female ENTJs, it would be the opposite of traditional because I feel like most female ENTJs want to be the one to work, but in both cases, an ENTJ would want their partner or would prefer the partner to be the one taking care of the household. It's not an obligation, but I feel like it's something that they would prefer.
Which is not for everybody. That is what I have in mind so far. Like I said, those 2 points, oh my god. Those 2 points are literally the reason why your relationship will fail with an ENTJ if you guys are not careful. So be very mindful of that because I swear those are really good advice. Okay? Be really mindful when dealing with an ENTJ when it comes to arguments. Okay? Alright, so that's what I had in mind so far. Really, it's these two that you need to keep in mind. Like, these two are. You need to be really careful around ENTJs for those two things. So here's the truth about dating an ENTJ. Dating an ENTJ can be very fulfilling because ENTJs hold themselves to high standards and they will put a lot of efforts to make things work. But since it's hard for them to deal with emotional things, it might feel like you're walking on eggshells around them. And you need to be careful as to not upset them because then they won't be a cute teddy bear anymore. They'll become a grizzly bear.
I mean, of course, be careful and mindful about how you're gonna present a problem to an ENTJ, but do not be scared of speaking up, okay? Stand up for yourself, okay? Because ENTJs have their part in it too. I mean, who cares if they get angry or give you the silent treatment or whatever, whatnot? Okay, they need to do their part and listen to you and try to resolve this problem with you, okay? And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.